LTTV, Blunt Talk with LT, back at it with another video. All right, let's get right into this one. Eboni K. Williams has been going viral for the comments that she made in a deflection. I think that's the point everybody's missing. She's going viral for the points that she made in a deflection to not be accountable for her negative personality traits and characteristics. So this is what happened. Everybody's getting lost in the sauce. Everyone's, so offended. The average man, the bus driver, X, Y, and Z. It's like, nigga, she deflected. She didn't want to improve on any of her shit. We're going to react to this. We're going to react to her comments. We're going to get into the interview she has with Iyanla Vanzant, which leads her down to this path in the first place. Her Breakfast Club interview. All of that. Let's get into it. My bad for the first F up. We still going to have Lucky on the show in some capacity. But this was a fail on my behalf.
50,000 plus comments posted on social. I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming.
Now,
stop the cap.
Once we go over the interview, we're going to pinpoint the points where we can tell that she's clearly capping. This is not about the ascension of black men. It was about the degradation and the deflections because you didn't want to deal with the parts that you need to improve so you can actually have success in a relationship. That's what it's really about. But let's get back into this.
Naming me personally and black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love.
We don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
C's and D's and grades like you're talking about a little boy that you're ready to raise. We're talking about men coming into your life. This is a clear deflection. Let's get back into this, man. What up, TG?
Into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of...
What?
All right, so white supremacy. A hot talking point right now on YouTube and social media in general. White supremacy. So you're going to deflect from your negative traits that was highlighted and you felt triggered by Iyanla, that you went and deviated so far off course that we're bringing in white supremacy. We're talking about low income in black men. We're talking about average bus drivers not worth a damn for you to date. All these deflections, but really and truly, it's really on you to improve who you are to get the better results because the people that you want to date that qualify for you are available. So let's get back into this.
Conditioning black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
Eboni! My son brings home C's and D's. It's just fine. That's right. And I call to him and I say, good job, but you can do better. Eboni!
You ever try to get him a tutor?
Yeah, I do. He has a tutor. But this, I don't understand. What does white supremacy have to do with it?
Nothing. It's a massive deflection. And then you're going into your kid's grades. What does your child have to do with this? We're talking about grown men that are dating options, and she's deflecting, they're C's, D's students or whatever. It's like, what are you talking about, ma'am? What are you talking about? Because you're having problems in the areas of finding that high value man, that high status man, because that's what it came down to. That's why she's like, you can own the bus but not drive the bus. It all came down to status because girls are hypergamous. They're not going to want somebody beneath them in status wise or earnings. We know this. We're not shaming her for any of this, but she can get what she wants if she just took heed and took some of Iyanla's healing. Let's get into this, man, because she ignores all the points and she got everybody off into this deflection, debating black men's status and average men and all this bullshit. It's a deflection. Don't get lost in the sauce. Let's focus on what's really supposed to be going on here. Let's listen to this.
Iyanla Vanzant, we are so blessed to have you here with us today on The Griot. I want to start, dear, with something that we share. Which is that we are both attorneys by trade. You are a lawyer, you have a legal background, and as women in the law, Iyanla, do you believe that lens, that legal lens, informs our perspective and the way we show up in the world as women?
Oh, absolutely, and that's why I got out. Yeah, very masculine, very intellectual. Almost stripped and robbed of humanity. It really shows the dichotomy between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And for me, it just didn't feed my soul. And so I had to get out.
I feel that, and I do feel that I might have heard on a date or two, Iyanla, that we are not in a courtroom, Eboni. You can put the gavel down, and I do feel it can spill over into the way I show up in my womanhood, which is really the center of this conversation today, Iyanla. We want to discuss masculine energy, feminine energy. I do want to start with kind of a new.
Just understand that is the central focus of the conversation today. It's focused on her right here. One more time.
Into the way I show up in my womanhood, Iyanla, that we are not in a courtroom, Eboni. You can put the gavel down, and I do feel it can spill over into the way I show up in my womanhood, which is really the center of this conversation today, Iyanla. We want to discuss masculine energy, feminine energy.
Now, she is not currently practicing law. She's been on TV. Well, I don't know. I can't say that. I'm not going to say that and go on a limb and say that. But we have not seen her practicing law. We've seen her on TV. We've seen her on panels. We've seen her on talk shows. We've seen her on The Breakfast Club. We've seen her doing her media thing currently. Those characteristics and those personality traits are so far embedded in her. You can't blame the profession at this point. It's like you use those abilities to get that profession, but there's no blaming. That is who you are, and you need to improve on those traits. Let's get back into this.
I do want to start with kind of a news framing, which is that women's rights across the country, especially black women's rights, they're under attack. Lots of laws are banning abortions. They are regulating what we can and cannot do with our bodies. What do you think happens for black women when this type of siege is at play and we don't feel we have anyone to protect us?
Right. Well, the first thing I think we do is we go into anger. We go into anger without a clear ask. Doesn't make sense to be angry unless you've got to ask. What is it that you're asking for? People can say anything in the world, but that doesn't mean that they get a right to do it. It doesn't mean that they get a right to affect you. But because so many of us are programmed and conditioned and educated to think like men, we respond like men. And when I mean men, I don't mean two-legged beasts. I mean in the masculine energy, and it becomes competitive, it becomes aggressive, it becomes againstness. And
that is exactly how Eboni K. Williams responded. She responded aggressive. She responded competitive. She tried to compare black women and black men. She talked about the earnings of the black men and they ain't doing X, Y, and Z. It became a degradation or a demeaning of black men. Exactly what Iyanla's outlining right here is exactly what's wrong with Eboni K. Williams, and this is why it's going to be hard for her to find a man, but she wants to be focused on the average man that she ain't checking for anyway. The men that you want to qualify for, you're not getting on their page. You want to lead the ship. You want to be captain. Ain't happening. Let's get back into this.
It's not who we are as women. It just isn't. And I think for black women, particularly for us, the way that we've been programmed and conditioned and educated in the society to expect less, to accept less, to be angry and to complain, but to not really step into our authentic self, our authentic power as women, and create what we want, even if that's create the demand Oh no, not here, not today.
Okay, I hear you articulating, Iyanla, this masculine energy traits, the competitiveness, the...
My bad, y'all. Let this play, but we got to put into perspective that Iyanla is somebody that wears her heart on her sleeve. She shows exactly who she is. She was at one point somewhat similar to Eboni K. Williams. She's learned from her mistakes. She's not one of these people that sit up here and acts holier than thou. She sits in her mistakes and admits it, and she's accountable. And then she uses her mistakes as a device to pick apart where the fuck she went wrong and how she can help other people, along with a lot of other things that she gets her insight from. But she's not one of these people that are just pointing the finger and telling people that they ain't shit. So let's get back into this and watch her not do the work.
Assertiveness. Tell me how you would frame feminine traits. Aggressive.
Grace. Yeah, aggressive, not assertive. It's okay for a woman to be assertive. Grace, first of all. I think we've lost our grace. We move in such a harsh and hard way. Grace, compassion, nurturing, nourishing, elegance. How about majesty? How about divinity? How about holiness? This is not a language you hear coming out of most women's mouths, but they'll talk about being a boss, being a diva, being, in charge. And many of us are either not seated in our throne as queens, or we're in the throne and the crown is crooked, meaning we're in the throne and we don't really know how to hold that place without the masculine aggressiveness and demanding and attachment. And it's killing us. It really is.
So in a recent interview with our dear friends over at the Breakfast Club, that went very viral for very good reason, you said that women are being trained to be men in skirts.
Yep.
I will acknowledge, I will say I was triggered.
Man, sit your dumb ass down.
I was a hit dog, and I hollered to the entire production team to get you here today, because I actually think you're right. I think you're right, Iyanla. I do think that, I'll just speak for myself vulnerably, when I think of a masculine posture and what I would expect a man to do in my life, two things come top of mind, and they are provide and they are protect. And when my lived experience, and I think I'm still relatively young, I guess, but I'm 40 in September. So, I've had some relationships, and I've yet to find a man.
Emotional damage.
Y'all gotta stop respecting the speakers that come up on air and dog out a whole subset of people because they have negative experiences in their own life and they don't look inward and take no accountability. Y'all make sure you get my likes up, y'all. We dusty out here likewise. The show was supposed to be scrapped and I'm still out here doing it. Y'all get the likes up. And the likes did not move one single like.
Come on, man.
Not a single like.
We're in a different era. Get over it. Whoa!
Also, I am capping. We got the likes. Let's get it.
Who has shown, this includes even my father, who was absent. I've yet to have a male energy that provided or protected me consistently ever.
All right, so she never had a male energy that provided or protected her consistently ever. So that's why she went on her tirade and she tried to cook black men, saying that they're underperforming, X, Y. I can't even remember any of her insults, but it was pure deflections because she didn't want to do the damn work. Do the damn work on yourself and you'll get the results.
A man who has shown, this includes even my father, who was absent. I've yet to have a male energy that provided or protected me consistently ever. So I think that I have taken on the reins to protect and provide for myself, because what I'm not going to do, Iyanla, is be without. Baby, it's not happening.
Be without what?
So that would
without what?
be without protection, and be without the necessities of life.
Okay.
But I say that with an invitation, Iyanla, check me. Show me the error of my ways. Tell me how I might be missing it. Because I might be.
Okay. I too am an alpha woman. So I understand what that means. And I tell people all the time, I was a horrible mother. I was a horrible mother. I was a great father.
Who?
And I was a horrible mother because I'd never been mothered. So I didn't know how to affirm, how to nurture, how to nourish, how to guide. I knew how to direct, how to demand, how to discipline, and like you said, provide and protect. Those are masculine energies. And the distinction here is men build, women create. So we know
Yo, she's spitting.
how to build. We know how to get to the external and get the work done and drive and push and do it. We don't know how to be still, create it, and allow it to come to us. And I learned that when I lost everything. I learned how to create because I had already built and it all crumbled. The house, the husband, the job, the contracts, the professional career in the world, stripped of it all the attachments, the necessities of life, the creature comforts, until I was stripped down to the bare bone. And then I had to learn how not to build. Build is external. Create is internal. And we as women have the power to create and attract anything we desire. But we don't get still. We won't shut up. And we manage everything through fear, control, and survival.
Perfect.
Janelle Rock says, Iyanla can say whatever she wants, as people often do, but her lived experience says differently. She's the type of person that she doesn't act like she's holier than thou. She knows from her lived experience. She sees the errors in her way. Did you not hear what you just said? She understands that she was not a good mother. She was not nurturing. She understands all the errors. So when she's trying to tell people, look, this is what I did wrong too. A bunch of people did this wrong. This is where we're fucking up. This is where we need this is the solution. Shouldn't be fighting the solutions if she has the answers. Just because she's not walking that line, self-admittedly, doesn't mean it's not correct. And everything she said describes a feminine woman when she was saying the positive traits. Man, Iyanla don't disappoint. She's one of the people that actually says some good, valuable shit. But let's get back into this.
As opposed to feeling, knowing, and blooming or flourishing. Complete different thing. But since we've never been trained, we haven't been taught. So we do it the way we were taught to do it, which is very masculine in nature.
And very external. I feel that you are describing me to a T, Miss Iyanla. Now, is this why you are conducting a rites of passage program so that women, all of Black women in particular, can learn to create?
Women, so that we can learn our authentic power, that we can learn the distinction between a powerful woman and a woman in her power. There's a distinction, but there are skills and tools and practices and processes that we have to learn. At every age, the 20s have a process, the 30s have a process, the 40s have a 50, 60. We each have a process. And if you don't learn your 20 process, you're going to be doing it at 50. If you don't complete your 30 process, you're going to be...
And that's what we're seeing today. We're seeing 50-year-old women flying to the DR for BBLs.
Man, sit your dumb ass down.
We see women in their mid-40s, late 40s, in pain on airplane flights, can't even sit down properly, laying down in all sorts of awkward positions from their BBLs, trying to relive their 20s. Trying to be a hot girl, have hot girl summer at 49. Like, we're seeing all sorts of... Man, let's get back into this. What she's saying is facts.
Doing it at 60. And that means you'll be running on overdrive instead of seated in your power. Yes. And the secrets are there. They come from our culture. They come from our history. But no one has taught us. So me, as a descendant of Africans and Native Americans, I have a very lovely blend and mix. And I just, for a long time, I didn't do it because women in general They don't want to hear. They think their way is right, and I'm crazy when I say sit down, shut up, and listen, and you can create what you want. They don't want to hear that.
Well, I want to hear it. So tell me when the sign up is. I don't want to miss it. Let me know when you're taking registrations because I am
Right
curious. I have.
You should have been serious about this, ma'am, because you actually need to.
Stop it. Get some help.
Iyanla would actually work well for her if she just actually listened and absorbed the information.
I had a very lovely single black mother, and I'm going to get to the statistics on single black motherhood and family life. But she was, by definition, more of a father figure in terms of providing and protecting. And I think that's very common. So according to the U.S. Census, Iyanla, 23% of households in the country are single-parent households, and we know 80% of them are led by women. How does this affect the child? Both little girls, little boys, non-binary children. How does that frame
Non-binary?
We don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
their expectation of women when the mother is in
It
charge?
all depends on what the mother or the woman demonstrates about being a woman. If she's demonstrating that it's hard and it's rough and nobody's helping me and I gotta do this and you gotta do.
Rilla says, why are we surprised by Eboni? We ain't surprised. Well, I ain't surprised. I'm just letting everybody know that she's deflecting. She's trying to put it somewhere it's not, and everybody's all outraged about the things she said about black men. At the end of the day, hey, yo, what?
We don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
We don't care. Nobody's taking it personally. No one's taking it to heart. Well, actually, some people on other networks are taking it to heart, and they're taking it emotionally, and they're defending black men with all their might and vigor. But we know what Ebony's doing. She's being unaccountable. She's what, 40 years old? She's not that old. She can get out there and find somebody if she really wanted to improve on the things that she's improving on. Focusing on the average men, that the average earning men with that income that's not in the same class as you at all, status-wise. Focusing on them and cooking them was just random. It was a random deflection. She didn't want to deal with the smoke, so she made a deflection and put it on somebody else, because at the end of the day, those aren't the people that she's checking for, and we don't begrudge her for not checking for bus drivers. That's where people get lost in the sauce. That's where they get lost in the point. If she improved on herself, she could probably find somebody that's earning the income that she wants to, but she wants to be the man. She wants to wear the pants. She wants to boss everybody around. She wants to bring that lawyer masculinity into a relationship and have her way instead of improving on herself. Let's get back into this. Too much rambling for me. Let's get it.
Do it this way, then that's what the children are going to get. If she's angry because she's alone, if she's desperate because, if she's not conscious, if she's not careful. I mean, when I look at the damage that I did to my children, not being clear about who I am as a feminine expression of the chief architect and creator of the universe.
What did she say about black women, about black men? It was in the beginning, and there's a lot more that we're going to get into right after this. This is a late night stream.
When I understand that I didn't know that and how to tap into that and the damage I did to my children who I love with all my heart. As soon as I discovered how off I was, I confessed it to them and asked them to watch me as I rebuilt who I was. And I'm still very alpha, but I'm in my throne and my crown is straight.
Okay. I'm looking forward to straightening my crown, Dr. Iyanla. Let me ask you this. Let's get to the logistics.
Shit, my bad, y'all. I got the $5 super chat. Laugh my ass off. She's so progressive in the non-binary stuff, but she wants the same traditional rich man to take care of her. The hypocrisy of modern women. And this last part's in the way. What does it say? Pimp named Slickback. That's who sent the $5 super chat. Shout out to you with the $5 super chat. Let's get back into this.
Though. Let's get to the logistics. We know that black women are earning college degrees faster than anybody else. Many of us are doing like we're doing, Iyanla. We're getting those terminal degrees, those JDs, MD, PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America.
I'm sorry.
Iyanla, we're getting those terminal degrees. Let's get to the logistics, though. Let's get to the logistics.
I'm sorry.
We know that black women are earning college degrees faster than anybody else. Many of us are doing like we're doing, Iyanla. We're getting those terminal degrees, those.
Stop the cap.
It's a total fabrication.
All right. I combated this point before. I have to do it again because this is the most misleading point that people always use to run with. They continue to run with this point. Black women everywhere run with this point. They say they're the most educated. They're getting the most diplomas, X, Y, and Z. No, that is absolute cap. The statistic is in reference to the fact that Asian men, white men, men that aren't black, in relation to their women, get degrees at a higher rate than blacks. Black women are getting twice as many degrees as black men. So they always say black women are the most educated. No, in comparison to their men, because men are opting out of post-secondary and still earning more than women, while women go to post-secondary and end up incurring all sorts of debt. So the black woman, the average black man makes more than the average black woman. The gap needs to be wider. Black men do need to earn a bit more. The gap needs to be wider if we're keeping it a stack. But black men are earning more than black women. And black women are more educated and more in debt. And because they're more educated, they think they're actually smarter and superior. But it's just education, and y'all have all this debt. So a lot of this shit is ass backwards. And when we focus on this, we're just getting away from the deflection of Miss Unaccountable, Eboni, and her perpetually single life. Let's get back into this.
JDs, MD, PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out-earning men. Yes. In
Stop the cap.
Anybody could stop this right now and do an extensive Google search and pull up the stats. Women are not out-earning men.
22 of the largest cities in America.
Oh, and 2 of the largest. I should have waited. My bad. We don't care, man.
Including where I live, New York, D.C., L.A., you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about.
Wait, what?
About across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all.
She belongs to the streets.
They are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver?
Are we going to skip past the fact that she just came for black male leadership because she's not being led by a black man? Because she was talking about her past and her dusty experiences, nobody providing or protecting for her or protecting her. Man, let's get back into this. People got to stop doing this shit to themselves.
Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was 9.
Whoa.
9, okay? Because you're a black man, you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete.
I think that's a factual analysis. For whatever we want, expect, we're told we were going to get, we got to look at the numbers and what's available on the marketplace. So you're certainly not wrong in the analysis. And Iyanla, let's tell the truth and shame the devil. We know what you got in that prenup would never be little. It'll never be small. Child, that's a big old mound of assets. But that's okay. Let's spend a little more time just so we're really clear in this conversation, Dr. Vanzant, difference between masculine energy and feminine energy, because I know that is not necessarily gender assigned, right? This is bigger than that. This is bigger than genitalia, right?
Right, absolutely. When we talk about man is mind, woman is heart. And so many of us have guarded, broken, closeted hearts that we do everything from here. And here, you know, as a woman that's been educated, that, like you said, has a degree, here will run out. Here will lie to you. This will never lie to you. But we've been taught not to trust this. We've been taught not to trust our knowing, our intuition. But a man can have a good idea and be brilliant, you know? So we want to have good ideas. But for us, our power is in knowing. And it's in getting that intuition and moving on it. That our power is in what we feel, not necessarily emotion, but what we feel in our body. But so many of us are out of touch with our body. We'll give our body to somebody else before we really get in touch with it ourselves because we're so busy doing till we don't know how to be. When I talk about feminine energy, again, I'm talking about the grace, the compassion, the humanity. I'm talking about mercy. I'm talking about silence, stillness. I'm talking about flow and movement. I'm talking about speaking from a place of intuitive knowing, love. I'm not, and that's not the masculine way. The masculine way is justice, structure, power, is control. That's masculine. Feminine is dominion, not control. But most of us, many of us, I'm in recovery, are control freaks. So it's a whole nother way, a whole nother vibe. She raises her hand. There's a whole nother vibe that we can tap into, that we have to tap into, because the world is dying. This society, this system is coming down.
Now, I don't know if y'all can see Ebony's face clear through the chat and the words, but she's just waiting for this speech to be done. She's not absorbing any of this shit. She's just waiting to go back on her rant on the Breakfast Club, which we're going to get into shortly, because she ain't having this. She's not buying any of it.
And if we don't step into our power as women, we're going down with it. With the fall of the materialism and the collapse of the systems and the structures. We gotta, how many women do you know with degrees could live outside and survive for 3 days on the earth? How many do you know? I know I can. I know what to eat. I know where to find water. I'm not saying we got to go back to the rustic times of the Wild Wild West, but I'm saying being in contact and in touch with the earth in a way that empowers us.
Yeah.
Take the pants off. Take the pants off. Let your hoo-ha get some air.
A new definition to breathe again, huh, Iyanla? Listen, it's funny you say that. I only can survive the wilderness, and I know for sure, and I actually was able to do it for about 12 days because I was on a CBS reality show called Beyond the Edge that challenged me, though. It challenged me to do those things in a way I'd never done before. Before you leave us, I need to ask you about how what you're saying for women to sit in there knowing, be quiet for a minute, shut up and tune into our bodies, tune into our innate knowing, as I hear you say, but how that works alongside feminism. Because you've said you're not knocking feminism. You're not saying women cannot be police officers, firefighters, play football, or anything else. But you are saying that this hustle culture has given women a need to feel like we must be in competition with men. Is that
feminism for me? Feminism for me is a political or a social construct. And a woman, empowerment as a woman is an internal experience that becomes an external expression. I can be solid in myself as a woman. I may not want to play football or carry a gun on my hip. I may not. But the distinction is I'm not looking to anything outside of myself for my power. Not. And I know that everything is coming to me to stretch, strengthen, grow me.
What she's saying is ultimately what Fresh and Fit and a lot of other red pill content creators say. Men, we have to establish and earn and gain value. Women, you have to retain your value. But women are out there trying to compete with men so much to get all these accolades and all these accomplishments. It's like, of course you got to earn and you got to take care of yourself, especially when you're single. But beyond that, these girls, these women, not these women, I'm going to stick on Ebony K specifically. She is out there literally trying to compete with a man for control, dominance, trying to structure men like she's the leader in relationships. She's lost. She needs some work. Let's get back into this, though.
Into my authentic and original being. And inside, I'm not guarded. I'm not harsh. I'm not brutal. I'm not violent. I'm not violent in my speaking. Women speaking today is so violent toward themselves and toward one another. So I'm not talking about a political construct, the women's movement. Right. I'm talking about the move of women for themselves, within themselves, so that they can be themselves in a completely different way.
It's internal. I hear you. One thing before you leave us, I have to ask one thing about dating. The reality is there are more men right now, Iyanla, on dating apps and seeking partnership than there even are women, contrary to popular.
If you're on dating apps seeking partnership, relationships, or any of the sort, you fucked up. Dating apps are for sex. People using them to fuck. Clearly.
Believe. And a lot of men say that they're struggling, probably because of what you named earlier, probably because the expectations of many of the women are out of sync with what society is offering at this point in time, blah, 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 blah. How do women adjust our energy so that we are more successful when it comes to dating?
She just told you.
Do we just want to date or do we want to be partner? That's one thing.
Once again, they both effed up here. She didn't listen to anything. She said, okay, and then she said, if we want to date, we're going to take all the information you gave her just to go out there and date, play the field. Like, are you trying to be a wife or not? Then Iyanla fucked up and said partner. These gender neutral terms. We got to stop this shit. You may theoretically be a partner because it's two of y'all building together, but you are a wife. The words matter, and people need to start getting in their goddamn role and their energy. A man is to be a husband, not no partner to a woman. A woman is to be a wife. These gender neutral terms, non-binary fuckery needs to stop. We get the message, but get the verbiage right.
If you have in your consciousness you want to date, you can date forever because you're going to find something wrong with everybody. But if you want to be partnering, my question is, what is your vision? What is it that you see for yourself, within yourself, about being in partnership? And are you willing to be in partnership?
I'll live with that. Be in partnership, whatever. You get the
as
meaning.
A woman, or do you want to be a dude having a relationship with a man? And when I say a dude, I mean how you manage yourself, how you talk to men, We got to stop talking to these men like they're boys. Even if he is driving the bus and he don't own it, or picking up trash, even if he did this 7.5.
Exactly, because that's what she does. Talk to men like they're boys. We're about to see something more. Let's get back into this.
15. That doesn't give us a right to use this divine instrument called a throat and a voice to demean somebody. But you know what? If we demean each other, we're going to demean our men. And we have to remember as women that while we, you put a woman, she's got to feed the babies. So she's going to do what has to be done. We have a level of tenacity that many men haven't experienced, particularly men of color, because their genetic memory is that if they're too much, if they're too grown, if they're too big, if they're too smart, they're going to get hung. That's a genetic memory.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that who they are as men, I don't want to say is fragile or delicate, but it's more sensitive to our mouth. And our mouths are just... Our mouths are out of order. I'm sorry, with each other, but definitely with men. And I'm raising my hand. The only reason I can speak this is because I've lived it. And I knew how my life changed when I shifted from external masculine aggression to an internal knowing where I get my guidance and my direction. It's just different. And most women think it won't work in the world. But look at me. And there are hundreds of me. I'm not alone.
Yeah. Indeed. Iyanla Vanzant, just
that sour face
eye-opening.
expression.
When I hear you talk and I hear the themes and even the tone, it's very Maya Angelou to me. It's very it is very, which is I intended to be the high compliment that I believe you received it. And none of us are beyond growing and learning, so I deeply appreciate the exchange and the wisdom. Final words to leave us with today.
My sister women, my sister women, my sister women. Not how we are is not bad or wrong. What we've done is not bad or wrong. What we've been taught or learned wasn't bad or wrong. Let us just consider that there's a greater possibility and another way to be.
Up for consideration. I'll put it under advisement, Dr. Vanzant.
Thank you.
I'll put it under advisement.
Well, I want to encourage
thank you.
Take it to heart. Take it to heart. Not put it under advisement. Take it to heart.
I know. I'm just kidding. No, I do feel the possibilities of what could this look like.
Stop the cap.
In a different way. I feel that on a spiritual level. So thank you for challenging that.
No, you don't. She's capping. She used this as an opportunity because she knew it was a viral moment. She used this as an opportunity to stretch the content, to have conversation on conversation on conversation about the same conversation. People do that in the media a lot. They know exactly what they're doing. She's not trying to improve on anything. She's trying to have conversations in the media to generate revenue and attention for advertising dollars. She's not really doing the work. This is a business. She can easily do the work on herself if she really wanted to. She's made enough money. She could lay back and rest into her femininity and do some courses or do something. Just be a nicer, more cooperative person at that. Just start there. But most times, more men are just going to look at girls like this with this type of rhetoric and just go the other way. Men aren't wasting their time. Men of value that she wants, they're not wasting their time with her because they can get a younger, more cooperative version of her. That's what it comes down to. So she's complaining about the dudes that she wasn't checking for anyway. Let's get back into this.
Many of us.
Group of white girls who are sitting at their graduation engaged. And the question came up, well, why is there not the reality for black women? I know y'all not gonna like what I gotta say, but you know me, I'm gonna say it anyways. First and foremost, black women are above reproach. If it don't validate us or excuse our bad behavior, we don't want to hear it. Instead, we'll say, well, men do it too. Secondly, we'll find every excuse in the world to validate why we don't want to be married or why we don't want to be in a relationship. Well, they get cheated on. Well, they do this. Well, they do that. But then we have all these standards for men, and we're still actively seeking for men in the midst most of our hurt while inadvertently telling them to go to therapy. We do not practice what we preach. Thirdly, the independent woman is a myth. Actually cared about being independent and it was something that made you happy, you would not have all these standards to negate your independence. Nobody wants to relinquish power. Find every excuse in the world to not be submissive and wonder why white women can get away with their bad behavior. We take everything bad from white women, except for the fact using marriage to our own benefit. But you'll run to the child support office, though.
She's spitting.
Just like a woman.
Equality against men, and the only time we actually want to be equal to men is when it comes to degenerate behavior, hypersexuality, abusing or abandoning children. Even when it comes to the gold digger conversation, what you don't see those other women do, even when they are just screwing men for money, is bashing men and inadvertently making men feel like they're not important. Also, too, telling them that they don't need men. Psychologically, we have been taught to disassociate.
Wait, hold up. Making men feel like they're not important, and this is my problem with the manosphere. Like, she's saying she's not wrong, but this is my problem with the manosphere in the red pill space. They let women that they're not interested in, or even women that they are interested in, who the fuck cares? They let these bitches have so much goddamn power. They let their mouth have so much power. Like, why the fuck do you care what they say or think? It's like, y'all, they respect women's mouths too much. Women are gonna say whatever the fuck they want to hurt a motherfucker. They're gonna use their mouth as a weapon, especially when they're feeling defensive or they're trying to deflect some heat off of themselves. They're gonna do that. And when you understand what women are doing when they're doing it, why would you take it to heart and be emotional about their mouth? And if they are giving you that mouth and it's disrespectful, then why tolerate it? Find a better chick. But she was spitting some facts here. Let's get back into it. This is from O'Shea's video.
And even in that Malcolm X quote where he says the black woman is the most disrespected, he also says to be near your man. Because who taught you to hate the very race that you're supposed to be with?
But see, what we're seeing now is this trend happening with women that are younger now. You see, it used to be when a woman got to Erykah Badu's age, you know what? At 51, all right, you can't get a guy. Now you're getting a younger man. But not when you're 29 or 30 like Keke Palmer. You see, the situation is this. Keke Palmer is not even 31 years old yet, but she's dealing with a man that she's treating like a wife. Don't believe me? Fast forward, Dima.
You see this now? Women want to wear the pants so hard they're treating men like wives. Because when they're earning and let's get back into this. I'll break that down after.
So, not too long ago, Keke Palmer and her stay-at-home partner dad or actor dad or whatever he is, Darius Jackson, attended the Big Boss closing screening night.
Now he has to take the L and hold that L because you signed up for this, sir. They say that women want to treat their men like wives. Well, if you're a man and you allow a woman to treat you as if you're the wife, you're the stay-at-home husband, you played yourself. You got to take that L.
During the Atlanta Film Festival. And of course, she went to take pictures and she was giving the baby to him. Now it seems like, okay, it's nice. He's handling the baby. They're both handling the baby. This is great, right? But custom.
All right, perfect point. Janelle Rock said to TG, I find that men tend to think a woman just living her own life and having her own goals is in competition with them. Women have their own life and their own goals, and most men have to deal with women with their own life and their own goals because they don't have enough money to facilitate the life for their women and children. Most men aren't going to be all the way fully traditional in the fact that they're going to be spending money. Most men aren't going to be able to do that. So a woman's going to have their own goals and their own thing, but she has to understand what is paramount, what comes first. A woman generally does not want to date a man that makes less than them. So if a man is pushing towards his goals, he's not going to stop his goals to facilitate yours if he needs to be prime breadwinner in the house. So you're going to have to take a step back a little bit and help him facilitate a bigger bag. And when women are in competition trying to earn more than their man, they're trying to essentially just leave the man. You're trying to make more money than the nigga while especially if he has big goals and big aspirations and you're trying to do more than this competition. It's like you're trying to get more money so you can be less attracted to him and leave him for somebody in a higher bracket. That's why men fight against this shit. But at the end of the day, people should be choosing better. You shouldn't be choosing a competitive woman in that sense. Y'all should be building together. If she's making more, great. Y'all should be building together. You shouldn't be egotistical, but people can't really do that. Generally, women, they don't want to be making more than their man. Not in perpetuity. For a small time period, great. But this is just the facts of life. I don't fight against the facts of life. People are who they're going to be. People aren't going to fight and overcome their biology.
Verily, we know what this is really. This is something that women typically do, not men. Men typically don't behave as the caretakers of kids. This is what...
Especially in their infancy. We're seeing all these girls have infants and be like, oh, I want to get back to the club. I want to get back to my work. And they're handing it off to the men. Like the men are supposed to take care of the infants. This is a woman's role to be a primary caregiver is in infancy. There's a reason why they always win in child support court. They're more capable in this time period. And they spend more time with the child. The child's more used to and accustomed to the mother. Man, let's get back into this. This is all dusty.
Women do. So if women are doing that and the roles are reversed and now the man is being the caretaker, what does that tell you? It tells me something very evident. These women are successful, they are beautiful, and some of them are very talented.
What the hell's going on here? This we covered this story before, but ASAP, he's looking like the woman. He's always been like metrosexual type drip, but man, this is bad imagery. You can see why people had their complaints a few months ago.
Obviously, we cannot take that away from them. But now they're not looking for husbands. They are looking for men to become their wives. They're looking for wives. Women want wives in a male body. That's what some of them are looking for. And when they can't...
It's okay for men to hold their children. Oh my God, of course it's okay for men to hold their children. It's not okay for the men to be the primary caregiver during that time. And every time you see them, the man is holding the kid. It's like, what is going on? Y'all get the likes up?
Get the masculine guy that is a leader, that is the alpha. What do you hear in Black America? That guy doesn't exist. These guys are gay, or these guys are lazy, or these guys are in jail. And I want to say, at least, I'm going to say this. Yeah, it's true that a lot of black men don't work together. It's true that a lot of black men can be doing better as a unit, but I denounce that with all my heart. There are some of the most hardworking, genuine, talented black men in America that we see all the time who go to somebody else's community or somewhere in the Pan-African world or right there in the African-American community and become very successful.
Now, this video that I'm reacting to of O'Shea Duke Jackson's is not even in reference to the comments of Eboni K. Williams. This has nothing to do with this. This just kind of correlated into what the hell we're speaking about.
And do very well. But the thing is, these guys don't need to be a beta male to that lady. That's what we're talking about. So what happens is these men are talented enough. They don't have to put up with that stuff. So then a lady like Keke Palmer is not getting the Jay-Z. He's gone. Keke Palmer is not getting Tyler Perry. She's not getting these high-end guys because either they're gone or they're not interested. So now the next step is, if I can't get him, I'll get the guy who looks good, who can be my beta male. But guess what? I won't respect him. Oh yeah, and that's what you're seeing. You think these ladies have respect for guys like that? No, I don't think so. Because a woman wants a man, I don't care how much money she's making. A woman wants a man who is going to be a provider, who's going to be a leader. Because when you can't do that, any given time, she can tell you to get the hell out. But that's what's going on right now, man. It's going on so crazy, and it's happening right.
My bad, y'all.
We got a special guest in the building as well. Special guest in the building. Okay.
Now, Eboni K. Williams is doubling down or tripling down. I should get into the comments that she made. We played this at the start. I'm going to play this one more time before we get into this interview.
50,000 plus comments posted on social. I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men.
Now, with the context provided from the Iyanla interview, this spin is clearly an attempt to try to spin this for more views and more traction in this media space because you had a viral moment. So now you're trying to backwards explain this shit into uplifting black men when you were degrading them. And then she doubles down in the Breakfast Club even more and argues with Envy. We're going to get into that.
Of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much.
Okay, throughout all of this, when have we heard, well, I have not heard or seen anybody shame black women and go in on black women, calling them undesirable gold diggers. People were focusing on specifically Eboni K. Williams and defending black men on a whole. That's what I've seen.
Much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best.
You see how she always tries to make black men boys. Oh, you were X, Y, and Z in school getting coddled by your parents like they're grown men. Stop trying to infantilize them. Like, this is weird.
Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men.
Stop
so
the cap.
No, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay.
Okay, so if you believe, let me get this verbatim.
Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men.
If you love and believe in the excellence of black men, why are you sitting up on air posturing as a figurative mother to black men, talking down to them? Oh, you need to do X, Y, and Z like you're their leader or something.
So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations.
She learned nothing.
Stop it. Get some help.
But the ratings and the views.
Oh, yes. The camera loves your nastiness.
Because this is supposed to be about you and what you need to improve. Once again, I have to say that because we get lost in the deflection.
So I'm going to say one more time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me.
We got a special guest in the building as well. We have a special guest in the building. Okay. Eboni K. Williams is here. Eboni K. Williams.
Good morning, Breakfast Club fam. Good morning, Horrible Decisions family.
Hello, fam.
This is like a family reunion up in this piece.
It really is.
I feel like we about to start fighting, so let's just say we love each other now.
Now, the horrible decisions, those women are horrible. They have the sex podcast where they talk about all sorts of egregious, salacious stories of them pegging, all sorts of fuckery, all right? All sorts of fuckery. I personally do not like, what's the big one's name? God damn it. I remember they came for my podcast years ago. They came for Blunt Talk with LT trying to run some Twitter campaign against my podcast. So I don't fuck with them from that. The big one. She's the one that did it. God damn. What's the big... All right, well, let's get back into this. I'll remember later.
I actually feel bad. And I'm going to tell you why I feel bad. Because I did two things this week that I normally don't do. Number one, if somebody I know got something going on social media, we should have...
We don't have the video for this. The Breakfast Club's copyrights are on the next level. We're not going to be able to finesse those, so let's just react to the audio. Let's get it.
Spoke to them.
I appreciate
and not about them. You know what I mean? And Eboni is our people. So I feel like we should have probably spoke to her, reached out to her like we always do for everything else. And I didn't watch the full interview with Iyanla. I watched the clip online.
The good thing I reached out to you, my good brother.
Yes,
and we had a productive, spirited conversation.
Yes, we did.
And you rolled out the red carpet, and that's why I'm here today. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Now, did who watched the full interview with Iyanla in here?
I did listen to the full Holding Court episode
I listened to that as well.
with Ebony K. Williams and Dustin Ross. Of course.
Now, we just listened to the full interview with Iyanla. Although it came with many interruptions from me, we just listened to it. So we have the full context. Let's get back into it.
I saw the clips as well, and I as well responded on my podcast, See the Thing Is, and spoke about it as well. However, there was more agreement with you than not, and so I'm excited to have this conversation.
Iyanla was really the issue when watching it, though. Like, I mean, I made a comment on your page and Breakfast Club page, and men was jumping down my throat because I'm like, what does it matter what she wants to be with? But I think the other comments were tough.
I don't think people minded the fact that she wants to be with who she wants to be with because everybody has their own personal standards. It was the manner in which that she came at black men to try to deflect the fact that she didn't want to work on herself. It's just quite obvious, quite apparent. Like, you didn't want to do the work, so you wanted to shit on a lower class of men that you weren't interested in, and nobody expects you to date anyway. It's like, God damn it.
To watch.
So here's the thing. I want to, first of all, as I started with my Holding Court episode, offer gratitude. Because I think what we know, the fact that this conversation with myself and Dr. Iyanla, shout out to my SOAR, it aired last week. And let's talk about what's happened since then. We've had a whole White House Correspondents' Dinner, which Roy Wood Jr. killed. Shout out to Roy. We've had the Met Gala. We've got a war in Ukraine and still a war in Sudan. And yet folks is still talking about this shit more than anything else. And I think that speaks to something, right? I think it speaks to the...
Not to mention a potential water war between Ethiopia and Egypt that's going underneath the rocks, that's been kind of going on for the past half a decade, but...
insatiable nature of the fact that we've got to have this conversation as black men and women, and we talking about the black family structure and black wealth building, and all of those are tenets that are tethered to why this has hit such a nerve and why it's reverberating, in a way. Tyrese posting about it, Jason Lee posting about it, the Shade Room posting about it, Spiritual World posting about it, Ava DuVernay in the comments, Viola Davis.
This is the thing that I don't like about the media is it's so disingenuous. You act like y'all don't want this. This is the part of the plan. This is how everybody makes bread. You're acting like you're trying to milk these viral moments until they're no longer milkable.
What was Viola saying?
We get to it. So that's a good thing. I want to start by that framework. Nothing about this is negative. People are disagreeing. People are feeling away. We're going to talk about it. But I want to start by the framing that we cannot have rupture in the culture and not do the work of repair. So to me, this is a conversation about repairing and restoring what has historically been a productive, valuable conversation and relationship between black men and women that somehow, some way has gotten away from us.
Well, I think it's two different conversations. Like, I watched the full, I don't care who
there's a lot of people that don't know what you're talking about. That might have just tuned in and have no idea.
So, Frank, go ahead, Frank.
Do they live under a rock?
Some people, because you have to tell people what you're talking about.
Okay. What are we talking about?
It's come from comments that, because I don't want to misconstrue, because we only had a small piece of your conversation with Iyanla.
Sure.
So during your Iyanla conversation, she asked you if you would date a bus driver.
So let me back up for 1 second and be correct. I invited Iyanla on my Griot show. That Griot show airs on Byron Allen's network. The Griot airs every night at 6. Let's first of all start with this. Whole shit is y'all's fault.
It always is. It always is.
This whole shit is y'all's fault here at the Breakfast Club. No, love y'all. Y'all had Iyanla on. And Iyanla made a statement on the Breakfast Club morning show, and she said that a lot of young black ladies out here are men in skirts.
Which you agreed with.
Which I found very provocative. Did I not call you that day? I said, oh, this is spicy. I would love to participate in this conversation. And then you do what you always do, and you went radio silent. That's cool. So then I invited everybody that knows Charlamagne and is a loving relationship with Charlamagne, know that's the shit he pulled. It's cool. I never take it personal. So it's cool. It's always love for 7 years. So then I said to my team, I said, reach out to Iyanla, let's book her, let's bring her on the grill, because I want to have the conversation, and probably more productively, right, y'all? Black woman to black woman. Yeah. Let's talk to each other.
AB87, that's a great point. That's a great point. They didn't want Kevin Samuels on the show because of his the clips and the rhetoric, but the rhetoric matched Iyanla's rhetoric. She said the same thing Kevin Samuels said, the same thing Tommy Sotomayor continues to say, but restructured it, reframed it into a more palatable way, a more digestible way for women to actually receive. essentially the message is the exact same. Well, not the same as Tommy's. Tommy goes a little further, but pause.
And also generation to generation. Let's talk to
Yeah,
each
because
other.
she old.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jesus.
I was going to say
You
season.
should hope to get to that age.
That's it.
No, of course.
We know what the alternative is.
I want to age. I want to age.
Amen. Gracefully, beautifully. Okay, so Iyanla comes on, and I say, this is the framing I say to Dr. Vanzant, to Iyanla. I say, sis, doctor, soror, talk to me about what you would recommend black women do in terms of our posture and positioning. When you're right, I am showing up in a posture of building, providing, and protecting my own self. I'm
What?
Yo, is this bitch strapped to the tits? Why does she keep saying protecting herself? What is she? You know what? I'm gonna leave that alone, man.
showing up in masculine energy, as you would call it.
Yep.
I'm conceding your point. But tell me how you would guide me to not do so when, I'll be honest, I don't really feel like I can trust that if I don't do it, that there's going to be adequate, keyword there, adequate provision and protection if I don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Which is how you said it.
That's exactly how I said it, right? And she said, beloved, would you date a bus driver? And then the clip goes. And then I did stare into the abyss because I wasn't really sure where we were going. But okay, because she is an elder and she's also my soror in the deference, if you know, you know, I'm going to go with you. Mm-hmm. So I honestly answered y'all in that moment. If he owned the bus. And that's what I said, Envy. But what people heard based on the comments, that I said bus drivers wasn't shit. People heard that I said that bus drivers broke, don't make no money, ain't got no benefits, and that they were beneath me. That somehow was the interpretation of me saying that I will date a bus owner. Now, let me tell you what I actually said, and this is what the whole Holding Court shit was about. Go check that out right now where you get your podcast, Holding Court with Eboni K. Williams featuring Dustin Ross. I said on Holding Court, y'all, let me tell you why ownership is it for me. It's not about salary. Y'all made it about salary. Y'all started debating $125 a year versus $160 a year versus $200 a year.
Well, you did quote stats before you went into the thing with Iyanla. You talked about women women earn more money than men.
And I talked about black women buying more homes. We buy homes at single black women are buying 20% of the market share of new real estate on the market. I know because I just closed last summer and it was a shit show in underwriting. That's another conversation.
They're graduating more. They're in college. Yeah.
I think I said it to you, Charlamagne, because Charlamagne, you guys do so much work.
Are we just gonna gloss over the fact that it's a shit show in underwriting? That is that's a very crucial point to the fact in all these house sales.
For the Breakfast Club about what? HBCUs. Yep. And I was devastated when my good friend Eugene Scott sent me a post, Washington Post article that said black men are going to HBCUs 1 to 2. It's 2 to 1 for black women graduating. So these are things we got to look at.
That was the point I was talking about before when they talked about black women are the most educated, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, they're just out graduating black men 2 to 1 because black men are opting out of post-secondary but still making more money. And then black women have more debt. That's why she's talking about black women. Oh, they're buying all the houses, and the house market is being they're buying more houses. Single black women. Then she said the underwriting is a shit show. What does that mean? It means dusty ass credit, debt, possible student loans, but you're still moving forward with the house purchase. Man, let's get back into this, man. And it's not even most enrolled. It's just more enrolled than their counterparts as men. They're not more enrolled or more graduated than white women or Asian women or white men or Asian men. It's just that the counterparts, the black men are opting out. So that's skewed stat. I always have to combat that because people hear something and then they just lose all context and just run with the baseline headline, with no understanding of what the headline actually means. But let's get back into this.
You have daughters, and you have daughters, and some of y'all in here got daughters. And if they're going to want to partner and marry men, and black men at that, and they're going to want to build together, as you two cite your marriages as examples of, we gotta talk about how people can be equally yoked. So back to ownership, Charlamagne. I said ownership is key for me. Why? Not because I'm a bougie bitch. This is not about everybody being a Harvard surgeon. This is about this book right here, Bet on Black. You read it, Charlamagne. Y'all were at the party. Y'all know what time it is.
It's about the book, Bet on Black.
Stop it. Get some help.
You know what Ebony K. Williams came here to do?
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
So I keep telling y'all, man, this is the media. Let's play this slimy game, get everybody outraged. Let's run the clicks up. Let's run the engagement up. Let's get everybody in their panties over something that you don't really believe in because you're trying to make some money. You're trying to sell a book. Whenever someone's trying to sell a product behind their bullshit ass ideology, you already know what it is. It's a fucking scam. All these frauds trying to sell their products behind their ideology or behind their talking points that they're debating. Bet on black.
It's hard to be free in America as a black person when you don't own anything. And I mean that with my fiber in my being, and I'm going to prove it to you. My grandfather, Kerry James Williams, had a 4th grade education in Mount Pelier,
We don't care.
Let me tell you,
We don't care.
Louisiana. He then provided for my family with everything they needed by doing 5 things at one time. That man cut hair. He made and sold moonshine. He cut graveyards on the weekend. He also worked a salary job at a feed mill. If you know about that feed mill life, then you know. My point in this is saying this, and then he raised my mother, Gloria, who also did not complete college. She took 2 years at Texas Southern. She said, how much? 50,000.
We don't care.
Let me tell you,
We don't care.
It ain't gonna be that for me. And she peaced out. And she started her own business. She drove the bus. So for all of y'all in the comments, well, my daddy drove a bus. Well, my mama drove a bus. My mother drove a bus as well, y'all.
Once again.
We don't care.
let me tell you,
We don't care.
You're not dating your mother, ma'am. You're not dating your mother. Your mother wouldn't have qualified to date you. Your standards are higher than what your mother was on the market. And she's a woman.
She drove a bus until she acquired a skill set. In her case, it was cosmetology. She drove the bus in the morning, the school bus. She would get off the bus. She would go to Universal Beauty School off of Bates Ford Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. She would then get back on the bus, drive the afternoon shift. Then she would come check on me, make sure that I was doing what I needed to do. And then she would go drive for UPS. So for those of y'all talking to me like I don't know what a CDL license can do, I helped my mom study for a CDL when I was 9 years old. I promise you I know about that life. My point is this. It's about skill.
Yeah, what's with everything at 9 years old? You're helping your mother study for a license at 9 years old. Iyanla's making her son work at 9 years old. The hell is going on out here?
It is nothing wrong with driving a bus if that is your maximum skill set. I simply want to call Black America up to the excellence that I know we can occupy. I've seen it before. Entrepreneurship is the key to me. That's not just me talking. That's Earl Brave Sr., the founder and visionary of Black Enterprise. I'm talking about Black Enterprise, Black ownership, and Black liberation. And it is important to me. It's in my DNA. It's my personal legacy. Because my mama told me, y'all, nobody will pay you what you will pay you. And this is not about shaming bus drivers, but I want to be clear. If you are driving a bus today, and that is the maximum of your skill set, I love and appreciate it for you. I have to because it's an honest day's living. But I want to tell you the truth. And this is not about hurting feelings or talking down or being an elitist. I need you to know that in 10 years, you may or may not have a job because AI. Artificial intelligence. See, this is the part nobody wants to talk about.
The lawyers
y'all.
might not have a job in 10 years.
They might not, and that's why So I'm glad you're going there, Charlamagne, because this is the part of the conversation that people really are feeling triggered.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
As she's saying all of this, I am researching the content of her book, and it is all corresponding to the things that she is saying. This is one big promo. The cultural landscape is reshifting, and don't let anyone make you their black sidekick. Representation with intention, access power strategically. This is a promo. Man. It's a goddamn promo.
conquered by. We all have to reassess constantly our skill set and how it's applicable today and how it might or might not be applicable tomorrow. So this goes back to everybody in the comments. Well, my daddy drove a bus and he did this and this and he was respectful and he was a good black man. He was a great black man, I'm sure. I'm sure all the bus drivers are saints and none of them cheat and none of them beat women and they all are just God-fearing men that show up and how they're supposed to in this world. I believe
Well, not all, but I'm saying
that's the narrative.
It's sarcasm.
That's the narrative. Yeah. And all people that dare to own, that dare to advance a skill set in a different kind of way, not a better way or a worse way, a different kind of way. They all have full-blown AIDS, beat their wives, and will die alone. That's the narrative.
What Tyler Perry movie is this?
That's what I'm saying.
It is Temptation.
It's very Tyler Perry.
It is.
But Ebony, what about the bus drivers that their goal was to own a home? And what if they came from something that necessarily wasn't the best education and driving the bus is
I think we got to broaden the conversation. I think we keep using words like bus drivers.
This is what bothers me to make it seem like bus drivers only drive buses.
Why do we keep talking about bus drivers?
Because let's generalize bus drivers.
We can talk bus drivers. We can talk police officers. We can talk MTA workers. We can talk all these.
Now, the bus drivers in my city make a lot of money, but compared to the average citizen, they're making more than the average citizen. So
for people that work at these quote unquote average jobs,
everyday working class people.
Now, this is my problem, right?
Yes.
Now, you know I do real estate and I do these seminars all across the country, right? We get thousands of people. The majority of people that own homes and investment homes are your quote unquote average workers, all your bus drivers, all your MTA workers. So they just don't drive buses. They have properties. They have. I know a police officer that drives Ferraris because it's not from his police job. It's from the houses that he owns that he made off to the police job.
You sure it's not from the cocaine
I'm
he's stealing in the...
I'm 1,000%.
I'm
1,000%.
I'm playing. That's a joke.
He has more properties than you, me, and Charlamagne put together.
Joke.
That's who he is.
That's a joke.
But they take it serious. But I know these people that do it, and they put in hard work. So when you said I wouldn't date a bus driver unless he owned his own bus, a lot of people felt it like, yo, that's disrespectful because I took a job. And a lot of people take those jobs for...
All right. Now, if she didn't want to date a bus driver, that's her choice. When people are taking that offense to that and they're getting emotional about that, it's like she's Eboni K. Williams. She's worth millions of dollars. She's a celebrity of some sort, D-list, but still a celebrity of some sort. If she don't want to date a bus driver, who cares? This is what I do not like about the media and just people's reactions in general. This is trannyisms. You can't force somebody to date you or like you. If somebody doesn't want to date you or they're not interested in you, who cares? Why does their words mean so much? Why is it so hurtful that she doesn't want to date bus drivers? Bus drivers they don't have a hard time out here. Well, I don't think so. I don't know, nigga. This is all conjecture. But still, nigga, come on, man. Feeling sorry for these motherfuckers. Let's get back into this. People are too damn emo nowadays.
A couple of different reasons. One, the benefits, right? They know they can work for 20 years. After 20 years, they can retire and they still get their retirement and they still get their benefits. So after 20 years, they can. Most police officers, the same thing. They get their retirement, they can still carry their firearm, and they can still get their benefits. So I look at it as that's a great hustle. They work for 20 years. At the end of 20 years, let's say they start at 21. At 41, they done working the bus company, done being a police officer, done being MTA, and now they just making money on top of money. So it's value over values, right?
Envy, let me stop you right there.
It's not.
Do you think for 1 second, and I know you don't know me that well, but we've had enough conversation. I had you on Revolt Black News. You talked to me about your father, who was a leader in law. Do you think for 1 second I'm about to push back on anything you just offered in that statement?
You can.
Right. So I cannot. And so what I'm telling you is what you are applying now is not the facts as they were given to me. Iyanla did not ask me, Eboni, would you date a bus driver that also had a real estate portfolio? Iyanla did not ask me. Hold on now. Eboni, would you date a bus driver that also had...
That's disingenuous as fuck. You took the label of a bus driver and attached the status of a bus driver that you felt was much beneath you, and you just ran with that. You didn't think that, he could just be a bus driver, but he could be saving, he could be doing X, Y, and Z on the side, because many people are like that. Many people aren't just their occupation. They're more than just their occupation. If you are going to plan to be rich or have any type of savings for retirement, you're going to have multiple income streams. A lot of times you see YouTubers just are on YouTube and you think that's all they do. No. That's why it's never good to count somebody's money strictly off of their occupation. You don't know what they do. It's just a status thing. She used it and she seen bus driver instant negative connotation, which you're free to do, but don't try to reframe this as something like you would have took it into consideration with caveats. Let's get back into this, though. Y'all make sure you hit the like button. We don't even have half as many people liking it as we do watching. Let's get the likes up. It'll help in the algorithm. It'll make for a more entertaining, exciting show next time. Because what happens when you hit the like button, more people come to the live stream, more engaging chat. It works out for everybody. And it's free. So let's get these likes up, y'all.
Nigga, you just hating, feel me? That's why you ain't never gonna have no paper, ain't never gonna have no bitches, feel me?
Now that's a message to everybody that did not hit the like button. But I see it moving. Shout out to y'all. We getting it. Let's get it.
Litany of franchises, because you and your wife just bought 5, right? Six crystals, crystal burgers. Okay. She didn't ask. That was not the framing of the question, Envy. Had that been the framing of the question, I would have said, Dr. Vanzant, where the fuck he at?
So real quick, so date a man, you have to come with a resume to say all the properties that I own, or do you get to know that man and see what he's about?
But see, that's semantics now. But now it's semantics.
Here's the thing. Y'all didn't listen to the whole Iyanla interview.
Go ahead, Shar.
Eboni actually agreed with Iyanla. That's what's confusing me. Because you actually agreed with Iyanla when she talked about, you should be open to dating a bus driver. You can build with a bus driver. You actually agreed with that. So that was confusing me when
you agreed with Iyanla, then also conflated more and said a loving man. Someone that loves what they does. There was a whole lot of other things. So she agreed that, of course, I want a loving man. I want a man that's passionate. I want a man with a plan. All the other things that came after the bus driver is what Eboni agreed to.
Yeah, so I say, why let the griot put out a clip that is more salacious and out of context when you actually
That's
did
media.
agree
That's
with Iyanla?
Well, I'm not going to throw the griot under the bus. See what I did there? But what I am going to do, is say that we know the business that we are in. So you said something, Charlamagne, on the show yesterday, where like we're entertainers, and we have to not over index for our. Yeah. Okay, so I want to be clear. My beloved, I'm actually not an entertainer. I'm not. I'm an educator. I'm an advocate. I happen to use the form of television, radio, and podcasting.
Stop the cap.
Right. It's a total fabrication.
I don't like when people do this. Jason Black did the same thing. Jason Black said this is not entertainment. This is education. I'm X, Y, and Z. I can't remember what he said because as soon as he said that, I tuned it out. I was like, really? Everybody thinks they're the arbiter of truth. Like what they say is facts and it's all 100% community building. It's like, yeah, some of the things you may say may be helpful, but what are we doing out here? This is all entertainment. This is all media. Do not try to spin it like it's something else.
To do my work. See, we can't conflate platform with purpose. So why did the griot and the brilliant, talented team of journalists over there decide to use the bus driver clip, which is sensational and controversial? Because let's be honest, the griot is not getting the eyeballs the Breakfast Club is getting. Revolt Black News is not getting the eyeballs the Breakfast Club is getting, or The View is getting, or The Talk used to get. Because the nature of not just black culture, of American culture, is entertainment first. So when you start doing the work of educating around where artificial intelligence is taking the culture, where you start doing the work about where criminal justice reform, how this summer, the U.S. Supreme Court, y'all, affirmative action, as we all know it, that shit is gone. Know that. But no one is going to watch in the volume that we need to have the impact that I seek as a teacher in this world, Charlamagne, if we don't put out that clickbait. That's the reality.
So it was to bring attention to a larger conversation.
And guess what? What we know, because we all sitting here today talking about this shit a week later, is it worked.
It worked.
But then you came back and
Stop the cap.
If it worked, then why are we talking about bus drivers and underperforming black men? You said it was a ploy to get larger issues in education across, not entertainment. But none of that has been a success at all. The only thing we know about is you don't want to date bus drivers and your book, Bet on Black. That's all we know.
the next day people feel like you doubled down on
I
what you said.
don't feel like I did.
Okay.
I stood 10 toes down.
And
But
what did
I
you
don't
say
think
when
that
you
was
when you-
standing down though. I think you completely like took a different turn.
I
Like that
agree.
was that was.
I agree.
thought
I
I,
told
actually
you
thought
that.
it was tough
I
to
agree.
watch. And you know I love you, but like
No, you know, I feel you, but that has got nothing to do with it. Tina told us that. So go ahead. I want to hear
because
the
to me,
response.
10 toes down would have been like, yeah, this is the choice that I'm making. This is my preference. This is the type of man I want. What I watched, were you talking about people as a whole?
Right.
And even white
Yep.
supremacy, bringing up, saying average, like it to me, it felt like almost attack on the working class and the people that were in them comments more than it was the man you're looking for.
So let's address it, Weezy. I'm glad you brought.
That was Weezy. See, I'm happy that wasn't the big one. I don't have no problem with Weezy, but Weezy was spitting, man. Weezy was spitting.
Because that is the turn that I took. So at this point, who gives a fuck about who Eboni K. Williams is dating? Let's throw that over to the side because it's irrelevant.
That's your preference.
And
I agree.
And
Right.
who gives a fuck, right? So now let's talk about my real work in this world, the work God has called me to do, which is to always sit in a posture of elevating.
We don't care.
Let me tell you. We don't
All right, now she's gonna go lying through her teeth. There is 23 minutes left in this. If y'all want to see the remainder of this, go to the Breakfast Club and you could actually see the interview where Eboni K tries to stand behind her stuff. I'm out. I'm over this. This was all a promo run, and she tried to demean black men and shit on the average working man in attempts to get a network hot and never actually promote the things that she said was behind, like the AI conversations and all the education she said was behind. She never actually got to it. This is bullshit. We wrapping this one up. We really don't care about your opinion, ma'am. Do the work on your goddamn self. That's what it comes back to. That's what it comes down to. You turn this massive deflection for clickbait moments, more headlines, more views, and you don't want to do the work on yourself. You got a bunch of black men pissed off at you. They shouldn't be pissed off. They shouldn't have took it to heart, but it is what it is. You fucked up. Take your L. We're out. Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
All right, Janelle Rock. What is going on now? You've been mad in the comment section the entire time. Well, they're calling you mad. You said you don't appreciate the hypocrisy. You have tons of experience with it. Who's being a hypocrite now? I missed the conversation in the chat. I was about to off it, but what's going on, man? Can we all just grab a membership and get along, y'all? All right?